How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been living van life for around 6 months now, and I'm going back to Thailand for probably 7 months, and I'll be departing within about a week. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of give an overview or wrap up exactly what van life was and some of the mistakes I made and some recommendations I can make to you if you're looking to endeavor on actually living van life. So if it's your first time tuning into the channel, I live 6 or 7 months in Thailand, and 6 months I decided to pretty much sell everything, have a very small footprint in the United States and customize a vehicle and live out of it. So if you caught this video that I did, I kind of explained the build, and I obviously give you the price point, which is sub 200K. Obviously there was some additions that I'll go over probably in a little bit, but I just wanted to make some recommendations and also talk about some of the pitfalls that I made regarding the build. So now this is going to sound a little crazy, and once again, you're going to piss off builders because those are the people that normally put out most of the content that kind of inspires you to build a van. And then also, secondary to that is that there's people that are attached or sponsored by these van builders, and everything looks very van-gasmic. You're looking at the sunset, etc., etc. But what I want to do is I want to actually tell you that if you're going to cut into your roof and start putting things on top, the dilemmas that you're going to run into, and this has been spoken about by many different people, but I just want to, basically recap. You're gonna have a van that's going to leak. Now, some of you are like, well, don't they seal it, etc. But the thing is that if you're especially gonna go off-roading, think about the vehicle moving back and forth, which is gonna basically jar whatever is seated on top of your roof. Also, if you're in a hot climate or just a climate in general, when the sun is beating down on that caulk or how it's caulked or sealed, it's gonna basically break after a indeterminate amount of time. Now, a lot of you are going to see these flares or these bump outs, which they are definitely good. It allows you to situate the bed to give you more space in your van, but once again, we have an issue of them cutting into your van. This also, I don't have windows on the sides of my van, but what happened during a rainstorm was pretty bad, is that the flare started to leak. So water started to come in that way. So that's another thing that you can, you can consider if you're doing a 144, a 170, a 159, regarding wheelbase, is do you cut into the sides of your van? Now, obviously the builders are going to tell you we do this all the time, but keep in mind, I'm going to talk to you about suspension. If you should go, soup to nuts on that, is that if you try to go off a curb with no suspension, I don't have any suspension in this car, that's modified, it's almost going to feel like you got into an accident, and you're going to see the sway of the van. So like I said, these things are going to keep moving either on the roof or where these things are cut out, and it's only a matter of time where things that are sealed become unsealed. So now that we spoke about, sealing your van, and just to recap, I wouldn't cut into the van at all. Okay, sounds crazy. Everyone does it. You see it. It looks cool. But the real feel of you now having to fix it, meaning that I built my van in California. I'm in New York. So what am I going to ship the car again and have it fixed, or try to find somebody who's willing to do a one-off and reseal or fix my van? Believe me, you do not want that headache. Let's talk about ceramic coating, paint protective wraps, and talking about Line X or Raptor paint on the exterior of your vehicle. So now, once again, I'm going to come out with a bold statement, but I'm just going to give you my experience of doing this. That a wrap Doesn't matter if it's a color change, a paint protection, ceramic coating. If you're someone who's going to be off-roading, a camper van kind of family or person, your van is going to be riddled with trees or brush, either high or low, and it's going to compromise the paint on the exterior. So now, once again, this is a heavy price tag, but if you want to live van life, you know that the rabbit hole runs deep. I would say Line-X the whole car. Now, you got to be careful when you go to a Line-X dealer, because it's almost like, I feel like I went into one place, they were talking to me with a ski mask on because they were looking to rob me. It was like 20, 30,000. It was 35 because they wanted to do the Ultra. It was crazy. But if you're someone who's concerned as an investment piece, I would say Line-X the whole vehicle, the plastics. Once you have the vehicle there, just paint everything. And I think it would also increase your resale value, because people know that you have protected paint regarding the Line-X. Obviously, it's an interesting look. Not everyone likes it, but if you don't want to have to then compound, re-wax, or clay bar and all these things for your exterior, just Line-X it out. I previously mentioned the fact that I did not modify the suspension in this vehicle because, once again, it's a daily driver, it's an office, and it's a sleeper for the majority of the time. But if you're someone endeavoring on going off-road and going to Baja, like all these people do, they get together, you're going to need, this is an all-wheel drive truck. You're going to need some suspension. You're going to need to modify this to soften the ride. If not, I'm a pretty, heavier human, is that if you're even, it doesn't even matter. You're going to get thrown around in this van from side to side over a little bit of an obstacle that might be in your way. So consider regarding when you're like, because everyone has a build list, a dream sheet. Oh, should I get suspension? Should I get the compass? I would say, if I had to do it all over again, I should have went for the money, and I should have said, you know what, give me your middle of the road suspension to soften the ride. I definitely should have done that, and I recommend that to you. So another pitfall or mistake that I made is that, once again, I was trying to curb cost a little bit because I only live here half of the year, is I said, you know what, I don't need a heater, a diesel heater in the seat. I don't need this, that. I'll go in an EcoFlow and I'll be able to, get away with that. The only problem is the EcoFlow was bought with the battery for almost $2,000 at the time. And to be honest with you, it only lasts a couple of hours. And even though the surface area in here is really not that large, when it's very cold out, as New York can get, it really doesn't do the job. And then also the cumbersome idea of you venting the window. I say go for the 6,000 or better, get the cruising comfort, pluck it underneath, and you have basically cooling and heating on a split system, I believe. Like I said, sometimes cheap is expensive, so I had to make other means on trying to get heat into the vehicle. What it felt like to me, it was like almost like the Book of Eli or Mad Max, where I was searching around to plug in, where I need electricity, because a lot of the things that you put in your van contingent on what you put in a microwave. I'm only really running a Max Air fan, the skylight, and a refrigerator, pretty much, and a Starlink is what I'm running regarding electrical. But some of you, want to get fancy and you want to do this and you want to do that, and you want to start plugging in household items, when I tell you that it's going to run through it within hours, and you're going to be without electricity. And like I said, you're going to be searching around, where do I plug in? So once again, solar, heavy on the solar, heavy on the battery system. Do not skimp, even though it is the most expensive, one of the most expensive parts of your build, but it's going to be worth it. I had to do it all over again. What I would do is I would not cut into the roof. I know something that's pushed on everybody, and to be honest with you, I used it 2 times within 6 months, is the Max Air fan. I know it's supposed to control the temperature, but the thing is that I really got nothing out of it. That particular portion did not leak. It was secured well. The Arctic Turn skylight, this is where I'm having the problems. And I had to reseal it. And then a friend of mine who's very handy basically sealed it with waterproof tape, etc. So what I would say as a recommendation is that I would leave the top of your van unscathed. I would put all solar panels up there with a Starlink, and that's the end of that story. Okay, if you want to put a crazy light bar up there, that's, entirely up to you. And if you want to put a heater, a cooler, a split system, I would go, if I had to do it all over again, with a cruising comfort, which gets secured underneath the van. So now a prevalent theme, if I had to do it all over again, is that everything should get situated under the van, and this would, basically lessen or mitigate a lot of problems that you would have going forward. So you also would have to consider, as van life is getting more and more popular, and you see van builders pop up on Instagram every day, whoever is actually putting your van in on that particular day, which to me is a tremendous skill. They have to cut it, they have to seal it, they have to place it, and sometimes there's rings that come around the actual particular item you're going to place on the roof. So could it be your luck that it's Tony's first day on putting in the skylight, and they're like, Tony, you're up. And then all of a sudden the guy really doesn't know what he's doing, and you're going to have a van that leaks, like basically this picture or video I'm about to show you, where my Arctic Tern skylight, when it rains, and I imagine that the rain puddles, and it starts to now get into your van. And I have an all aluminum build, so it's not such a huge deal. But for some of you, and the majority of you, usually go with wood. So now water and wood obviously don't mix. And, you might as well just throw the whole van out, because you got mold. You would have the furniture or whatever you place in the van would basically get ruined. And you know how much these vans cost. Now, if you watch the channel, I normally will start with upfront negativity, is that the positives is that the fact that I did not go with flooring or a ceiling was a non-issue, even though people will argue the insulation. The thing is that I put down the Inhabit design mats. It really finishes out the van beautiful, because, this is a 144 wheelbase. There's not that much floor to basically cover, because the way that I have the bed situated, I have a drawer slide underneath or a pull-out slide underneath. So the way I situated the layout, the sunbrella cushions and all that, the design of the van, I thought was done well. All I could say is that if I had to do it all over again, I think, besides the modifications that I said prior, I would have went with a 170. I would have spent probably another 50 to 60,000 on really just doing everything at the builder, and basically say la vie. You spent the money, but you have what you want. Because for some of you who don't realize the lifestyle of van life, whatever you don't have, you're going to have to work to basically make these things happen. Like I used the reference, Book of Eli, that you're searching around for this or that. And, we could talk about, other modifications. Do you have an extra gas tank? Do you have extra water? So just consider these things. I mean, van life is cool. It all depends on your situation. Is it a camper? Is it a daily driver? And what is your use for this vehicle? And once again, to be honest with you, what's your pocket like? So look, I'll see you guys in Thailand in a week. I'm going to be bringing you content like before, me doing a walk and talk with you guys, but I'm also going to show you, I'm feeling a little better. I'm completely healed. And we're basically going to go on a cocktail of performance enhancing drugs. And I'm going to show you some of my training, and I hope you get something out of that, and I hope you like it. So listen, be well. I'll see you guys soon, and take care.